I think we need to credit Skoda for reigniting our love for sedans. This Slavia, I think they've nailed it.
Hold on, Nikhil. Don't jump to conclusions just yet. You need to see it in the right light, and that light comes from the Honda City. Now, over 20 years of its sale in India, in different iterations, it's been the segment benchmark, and even this one has been the winner of a mega sedan comparison.
But Saumil, that mega sedan comparison didn't have the Skoda Slavia. I think this is the best sedan now.
I don't think so. I think it's still the City which will win.
Okay, I have a plan. I want you to do the driving. I'll sit on the back seat, and I think by the end of the day you'll be convinced.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Before we get moving, a bit about the cars first. The Slavia with us is the 1.0 TSI that uses a 1-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engine that makes 115 horsepower and 178 Newton meters. The City, on the other hand, comes powered by a larger 1.5-litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol unit that makes 121 horsepower and 145 Newton meters. In consideration here are the much in demand automatic versions of both, so that's a 6-speed torque converter on the Slavia and a 7-step CVT on the City. I decided to reel Saumil in with some of the everyday feature advantages that the Slavia has over the City. Saumil, now that you're comfortable in the Slavia, let me introduce you to front seat ventilation. I notice you've not put it on.
This is such a boon on a day like this when temperatures outside are 38 degrees centigrade. I mean, sweaty backs no more. Like, really, this is one feature I would buy this car for.
Okay, and another thing that it has that the City doesn't, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so no fumbling with your wires. The Slavia's touchscreen is larger, slicker and generally more vibrant. Okay, now of the other things, when you spend a lot of time in your car, the audio system matters a lot, and I think the Slavia has the edge there as well. This one's got the subwoofer, more bass, punchier sound.
I gotta agree.
Time to go in for the kill. And it's not only the sound that the Slavia is punchier in, it's also got the punchier engine.
Yeah,
admit it.
I have to give it to that. I mean, this is the globally acclaimed 1-litre TSI, and well, a small drive in it and you will be left impressed with this car. Out on the open road like this, the mid-range, the top end, it's a really strong performer, and you'll enjoy this engine even though this is the smaller engine in the Slavia range.
That's what. This is not even the most powerful one. This is the 1-litre, 115 horsepower. The 1.5, 150 horsepower, that's an RS in disguise.
For most people, for most scenarios, this 1-litre does the job just fine. I mean, it performs strongly, and outright performance is actually better of the two cars here.
While Saumil tries to find faults with the Slavia, you take a quick look at the performance numbers. The Slavia is quicker to 100 kph and it's also quicker in kickdown acceleration.
But how often do you drive flat out? Most of the time, these cars are going to spend their lives in the city, in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and that's where the Slavia will show you its weakness. You know, this is a 1-litre engine at the end of the day, and when you are driving below 2000 RPM off boost, and that's the time you'll be left wanting for quicker, stronger performance. You know, it's at city speeds where this 6-speed torque converter is calibrated to upshift to the highest gear possible at the earliest, and as a result you're doing 40 kilometers, 45 kilometers per hour in 4th gear, and suppose you want to overtake an auto rickshaw or a biker in front of you, it's gonna take a while. It's not instantaneous, and that's where you'll feel the lag that I'm talking about. This lag is most evident in chock-a-block city conditions.
Yeah, but is it a problem to the extent of being a deal breaker?
No, it's not going to be a problem as such, but those used to larger capacity, naturally aspirated engines will find themselves taking some time to adjust to this engine character.
I'm quick to divert Saumil's attention to the Slavia's very handy 179mm of ground clearance.
Honestly, it's really good. I mean, we've gone to our shoot location does have quite a bit of an off-road trail, and the Slavia managed quite easily without grazing its underbelly.
But does that high riding stance come at the cost of handling? No, it doesn't.
No, absolutely not. We've been attacking these corners, and the Slavia has been performing phenomenally. See, the turn-in is sharp, the steering feels sharp, and there's little roll to speak of, but I mean, it's much better than any other sedan in its segment, I think.
I see you're having a lot of fun in it.
Yeah, and these paddle shifters too, it's adding to the whole driver connect and the driver engagement.
And that's the thing about the Slavia, right? It feels like a, fast, happy, almost youthful car, which the city doesn't give you the same vibe, right?
Yeah, I gotta agree. And the thing is that even if you're not a sporty driver, even if you're driving at a slightly faster pace than you'd usually do, the Slavia gives you the confidence to do that. And I mean, that's the beauty of this Skoda sedan.
Those benefits of the high-speed manners can be experienced at the back as well. But what I do like is that I've not been chucked around throughout all the driving you've been doing, and you have been going quite fast. I have noticed even side-to-side movements are pretty well contained. And the Slavia also has great low-speed ride to boast of. The suspension is really absorbent and, as an added plus, works silently too.
And we've gone over quite a few wavy surfaces. Is your head touching the roof?
No, so my head is touching the roof. I think the Slavia is just about adequate for someone of my height. I'm 5 feet 11 inches, and I actually really like the seat. It is a bit upright at the backrest, but the seat base is nice and long, so there's a good amount of under thigh support. There is lots of knee room, lots of place to stretch my feet under the seats, but I like the seating position. I like how the armrest falls at a good height. I just like the nice view out.
And is the AC effective enough? Is it keeping you cool?
Yeah, the AC also does a fairly good job, but I have noticed that the blower can get a bit noisy, especially when you're just getting into a hot car. But on the whole, in a couple of minutes, things equalize. The Slavia's rear seat might be contoured for two, but what's nice is that all three passengers get adjustable headrests, where the City makes do with fixed ones.
And what do you think of these digital dials?
I like them, but they could have been better.
The dummy screens could have been put to better use, and it could have been executed a little better overall. And speaking of execution, what do you think of this copper strip on this dashboard?
Okay, again, I'm not a fan of that, but I like the rest of the dashboard. It's got a nice use of colors, textures, materials. I think it feels quite upmarket.
And now, into the city. Stepping into the Honda City right after the Slavia, everything feels a lot more business-like in looks, right?
Yeah, it's very neat and tidy and straightforward in look. But one thing which I really like about the City is the view out. The dashboard is nice and low, and you get a really, really good, typical Honda view of the road.
That's true. The visibility is really good. And what I also like is that this car gives you physical knobs to operate the air conditioner. Unlike the Slavia.
You're just old school. Come on, that one has nice indents. You can just place your finger without looking there.
Look, you need to get used to that. This one, even without looking down, I know here's the temperature and here's the fan speed. So it's a lot easier, especially on the move.
What's with the touchscreen? I mean, at certain angles you can't see it at all.
Especially, under the bright afternoon sun, the visibility is quite poor. The display resolution is quite poor. What is really well executed is the fact that Honda is giving you this part digital, part analog sort of setup for this instrument cluster, and I think it really works well. It's very easy on the eyes.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's configurable, and I really like the fact that you can get an analog look screen. And on the manual City, it's a real joy to see that rev needle at 7,000 RPM.
I could sense Nikhil work the conversation towards the city's CVT and how it takes away from that driving joy. So my approach is attack is the best form of defense. Yes, this is the city for the city with the correct gearbox. And I've said it before, a CVT is the most ideal sort of gearbox for a city commuter. It just makes the drive that much more smoother, that much more effortless in comparison. And when paired with this 1.5 litre petrol engine, the drive experience is really effortless to begin with in the city. It's a more responsive engine of the two. Whenever you want to close in the gap, a gentle dab on the accelerator and you close in that gap. And I think it's a lot more nicer in city confines.
Correct. In city confines. Now that is the line that differentiates the Honda City and the Skoda Slavia, because when you get driving faster, you'll notice that the city automatic is always groaning and moaning. You can hear the engine revs rise, but
that's true,
the road speed isn't rising. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's true. Even when you're not trying to be sporty, this one is whining a little bit too much. Okay, it could have been quieter for sure.
Yeah, so this is a car you drive in a relaxed manner, and I think you'll be happy with it like that. But if you're looking for fun, this is probably not the car for you.
It's not too bad, to be honest. The steering is quite nice. Okay, you're not getting the same levels of engagement or confidence like you are getting in a Slavia, but look at it in isolation and it's a pretty good handler. Time to shift tact and talk something that the city has always been known for. Okay, this car might not be engaging or fun to drive as such, but it's the more efficient of the two. The city has the edge in this all-important area, delivering better fuel economy both in the city and on the highway. The Slavia is the only one with auto stop-start technology.
Now, one thing I can tell from the back seat is that the city's front seats almost like thrones. They're huge, like the headrest.
Absolutely, the seat is really comfortable. The cushioning is soft. It's a really wide seat. Even though this doesn't have the ventilation feature, which I really miss in this car, I think it has the better seat, the front seat for sure. What about the back seat?
Yeah, I think it certainly feels a lot airier, although the measuring tape doesn't reveal much of a difference between the two. It does feel like the airier, roomier cabin, and the seat cushioning is really nice. It feels like it belongs to a more expensive car. It's really soft. Even the seat looks very premium, so you can really sit back and relax. But there are certain things, certain pet peeves. For instance, this armrest. I don't know why Honda always places it low, so you're always leaning on one side. You can't sit in a relaxed manner. And another thing, though this footrest, the upward sloping floor, it's a nice touch. Someone perhaps shorter than me will be really comfortable in the back. For me, it sort of leaves my legs hanging in the air, so that's not all that nice. But perhaps as a place for three, the city is better.
Yeah. And how's the AC performing at the back? Is it cool enough?
Yeah, I think the city's air conditioner is a bit more effective. It's quicker to cool the cabin, so that's a good plus point. But sitting in the back, I have also noticed that you do move around a bit more in the city. There's more up and down movement when you're going faster, and at lower speeds, and this is something which I didn't expect or I had actually forgotten. You hear a lot of the road, right?
Yeah, you do. Even at the front.
Yeah.
Even over perfectly smooth road surfaces.
There's a lot of road noise. You'll feel more of the road below you and hear more of the world outside you in the city. Over the course of the driving, I could sense Saumil step back from his city is king stance, and I think a quick comparison of the other aspects would convince him proper. For one, it's the Slavia with the superior build. It feels like a tougher car. Interior quality though isn't quite like the more expensive Skodas, and it's not got the padded materials on the dash and doors as the City does. But then those soft touch surfaces also sit amidst hard materials. And what's with the city's basic roof lining?
Now onto the features these cars come with. Both cars in their top spec versions get you quite a few goodies.
But it's only the Slavia with auto wipers and front seat ventilation, and it's also the only one with wireless phone charging.
The City meanwhile gets a more comprehensive connected tech suite that includes the option to pre-cool the car. Other feel-good features exclusive to the City include auto up-down all 4 power window switches and retractable sunshade. Both cars also pack in a lot of safety equipment like 6 airbags, ESC, traction control and ISOFIX child seat mounts, though neither have a global NCAP rating as yet. The Honda also gets a handy lane watch camera that relays a feed of the left side blind spot on the screen. Sadly, the resolution of the cameras on the City and Slavia don't feel very 2022. On trips out of town, you'll appreciate how much luggage both sedans can accommodate.
But where the City's 506-litre boot is large, the Slavia's 521-litre luggage area is larger still, with more usable room inside. The Skoda also boasts added flexibility with 60-40 split fold rear seats.
Which one would make the greater first impression at your office parking? To me, it'll be the City. It's got a classic shape and just the right amount of flash.
What Saumil isn't mentioning are the City's undernourished 185 section tyres, which definitely hurt the stunts. The Slavia, it's more chiseled and fresh, and just has the more eye-catching shape.
It's almost like a crossover with so much space between the ground and body. Let's not get into that. What we should get into is how much these sedans cost to buy and service.
The Honda City CVT is available in 3 variants with prices starting at 12.63 lakh rupees, with this top spec ZX version coming in at 14.98 lakh rupees ex-showroom. The Slavia 1.0 TSI AT on the other hand is available in 2 trims with prices starting at 13.59 lakh rupees, and this fully loaded style yours for 15.39 lakh rupees.
And going by figures on both manufacturer websites, the Honda also promises to be more affordable in terms of service costs over a 5-year period.
Do note the Slavia has a 15,000 km service interval to the City's 10,000 km interval, so things will equalize for buyers with lots of running.
In terms of warranty, the Slavia comes with a standard 4-year or 100,000 km plan, while the City gets you a 3-year unlimited kilometer warranty.
Now that's all the data there is. Which one would it be for Mr. Saumil Shah?
So the Honda City is still the thinking man's car. It is the easier car to live with in the city. It is more fuel efficient and even the seats are a bit more comfortable. But I get what you're saying. The Skoda Slavia, it has that X factor.
Doesn't it? I mean, okay, it's not as over-engineered as the old Skodas were, but this is still a damn good package. I mean, that engine, the way it drives, and personally speaking, even the way it looks, it just makes for a very emotional choice. You know, where that's the level-headed choice, this is the one that pulls at your heartstrings. Question is, which one will you go home with?
I'll take the Skoda Slavia.
I told you.
How many people are going to drive their city outside the city, and how often are you going to do that? Most users will spend the life of the city in the city, and that's where the City does a phenomenal job. I've always said this, the CVT is the best choice for a city commuter, and in the city how many cities?